Shalom Eastern Shore. I'm Rabbi David Tokajer with Congregation Maim Chaim, the Eastern Shore's Messianic Synagogue, and I'm bringing you your daily dose of living water. Most people have a favorite character in the Bible, and Joshua is mine. He was definitely a man of God. He had a burden for the people of God. He had one of the best mentors anyone could have asked for in Moses. Joshua was Moses' right-hand man. He was groomed by Moses and called by God to lead Israel into the promised land. He was one of the 12 spies sent to spy out the land of Canaan, and one of only 2 that came back with a positive report. As such, he and Caleb were the only 2 of the first generation out of Egypt to be able to cross into the promised land. Joshua also had moments of doubt and fear that he had to overcome. For instance, when the Ruach Elohim, or the Spirit of God, was placed upon the 70 elders in Numbers 11, and Joshua saw them prophesying, he became scared and angered, and he demanded Moses stop them from acting in the Ruach. Moses taught Joshua a very valuable lesson that day, and one that Paul reiterates much later in 1 Corinthians 12 through 14, that he wished all would be empowered with the Holy Spirit. In the book of Joshua, we read about the heroic tales of Joshua leading Israel into the promised land and of the Lord providing miraculous victories against the Canaanites. But we also read of some of the best and worst moments in Joshua's life and ministry. Some of the best, like when he led Israel marching around Jericho, and some of the worst, like when he made a treaty with the Gibeonites, who tricked him because he didn't seek first the will of the Lord. But truly, the absolute best lesson that I believe we need to take to heart from Joshua's life today comes toward the end of his life, a life that was an awe-inspiring lesson of faith. Joshua summons the nation of Israel for one final teaching in which he reminds the people of God's never-ending faithfulness to them. He then continues on to reiterate the importance of honoring their covenant with the Lord. He reminds them of the journey that they and their forefathers experienced, from Abraham's original call to Israel's entrance into Egypt, to their deliverance from slavery in the Exodus, to their crossing the Jordan into the promises of God. He then speaks some of the most powerful words found in the entirety of the Bible. Joshua 24, verses 14 and 15. Now therefore fear Adonai and worship him in sincerity and truth, and get rid of the gods that our fathers had worshipped beyond the river and in Egypt, and worship Adonai. If it seems bad to you to worship Adonai, then choose for yourselves today whom you will serve, whether the gods that your fathers worshipped that were beyond the river, or the gods of the Amorites in whose land you are living. But as for me and my household, we will worship Adonai. You and I have both seen the hand of God move in our lives. He has been faithful even when we have been faithless. Ultimately, the cry of Joshua's heart for Israel here is the same yearning of the Lord for you and I today. Through Yeshua, we have been given freedom from slavery to sin, and we have entered into the greater promises of God. It is now time that we truly listen to the word of Joshua. Choose for yourselves today whom you will serve. I don't know about you, but I wholeheartedly echo Joshua's choice. As for me and my house, we will serve Adonai. Now the choice is yours. What's it going to be?